to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join OPEYEMI AKINYODE as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial mainland 98.3 FM. We'll welcome you roommates as we discuss the situations.
Oga Police, no worry, I see you. You know you can do the right thing, right? You know you can do without that bribe. You know you don't even have to harass that young man because he is properly dressed. And you think he's a Yahoo boy? You don't even have to assault that citizen whom you have sworn an oath to protect. Yes, we understand that the pay is not good enough to take you home. That you are still wearing a uniform that you bought with your own money 5 years ago. It's no news that the government has not done enough by you. We feel your pain and we wish things could be different as we continue to call on government to wake up to their responsibilities. We want the police to be our friends, just as it is boldly stated across the various police stations nationwide. And from mainland 98.3 FM, we implore you to do better. We love you and we support you always.
Good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room live on mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. I want to believe your day has been going so well. I want to welcome you to the Friday edition of the program, the last edition for the week. Yes, today is 12th of July 2024, and I want to also believe that your week has been going so good so far. The last 24 hours had been a mix of a whole lot of things. If you're from Kogi State, and then of course yesterday the Court of Appeal upheld the November 11, 2023 gubernatorial victory of His Excellency Governor Usman Ododo of the All Progressive Congress, after I dismissed the appeal of the SDP candidate, Mr. Abubakar Ajaka, of course, who challenged the legitimacy of the result of the November 11, 2023 election. The appeal court ruled that His Excellency Governor Usman Ododo satisfied every demand of the law and scored the simple majority in the election, and of course upheld his victory. You would expect that the people of Kogi State should start seeing signs of good governance, beginning from the appointment or the formation of a proper cabinet by His Excellency the Governor of Kogi State. Also yesterday, a landmark judgment was delivered by the Supreme Court, confirming the legitimacy, or let me put it this way, further cementing the cry for Nigerians to have a truly independent local government. The issue of autonomy has been on for many years, We've had civil society organizations, pressure groups, even political parties, individual, come up to say that the government at the various level, at the federal, at the state level, needs to encourage, or let me put it this way, empower local government chairmen to function properly, because they would always tell you that every politics is local. So for the people to feel the proper impact of democracy, the governance at the local level must be done properly and effectively. Yesterday, there was that landmark judgment, and one of the persons that have constantly been at the forefront of championing true democracy, especially down to the grassroots, will be joining me on the show today. Is the executive director of civil liberties organizations in Nigeria, Comrade Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ. I would be joining me on the show today via phone. But before I link up with Comrade Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ, if you've been following the news, there was an unfortunate incident that happened in Jos around Busabuji, very close to the new Zaire Road Stadium early this morning. And a building inside St. Academy Secondary School just collapsed, two-story building. And I've actually been Mr. Kelvin is joining me from Jos, and I was just leading our listeners into the conversation about the unfortunate incident that happened the early hours of this morning. Well, Mr. Kelvin was quite fortunate that 3 of his siblings survived the building collapse, the two-story building collapse that happened in Jos today. And before I came on, I actually spoke to the Commissioner for Transport in the state, and then he told me about the fact that there are about 6 functional excavators on ground. There are a lot of ambulances on ground. There are a lot of medical personnel still trying to see how many more trapped students and parents they can get out of the collapsed building. Mr. Kelvin, talk to us about how everything started out today, and more importantly the fact that we are sympathized with the families that have lost their loved ones, but your own siblings, 3 of them, survived the building collapse today. Talk to us about that and the mood of that state as we speak.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So this morning we received a call. I received a call from a close relative living close to the school about what happened. So I had to rush there. So on getting there, I already saw people trying to bring out their loved ones. The excavators were doing their own job. The Red Cross, the fire service, the police, the army, everybody were there. So they were actually doing their own job. So I had to go close to the school. I entered the gate. So that was when I saw them dragging out my siblings. They dragged one. I waited there. That's how they kept on bringing them to the... brought out 3 of them. And they had to put them in an ambulance and rush them to Plateau Specialist Hospital, where they are receiving treatment now. So as of when I left there, they were actually doing a good job bringing out other children, those that have died and those that are still alive. But they are all doing a great job and everything is moving fine. So what really happened, it saddens our heart that things like this are still happening. And we pray for the bereaved family that God in His infinite mercy will console them. The state in which buildings are collapsing now, the government needs to look into it and know what they will do about it, because it's getting out of hand. You can imagine students that went to school today, and some of them are already dead. Some of them are in the morgue. It's really painful. It's really disheartening. So I just...
Very, very disturbing, Mr. Kelvin. I mean, my day did not start well for whatever reason, and I just went online this morning and I started seeing pictures and videos. I had to reach out to a couple of people, spoke to the Commissioner for Information, he confirmed it, spoke to the Commissioner for Works as well. He told me though he couldn't talk now, so I had to link up with the Commissioner for Transport, and Honorable Gang told me, breakdown of everything. But let's talk about the respondents now. You talked about the fact that the police, state emergency management, agency, that's SEMA, NEMA, all of that.
Yes.
As it is now, tell us the state of things. Are there still kids trapped or parents? Is the excavation still going on as we speak?
Yes, the excavation is still going on, and so many kids have been brought out safely. So many kids have been brought out safely. The excavation is still going on. And I noticed the Just Not chairman came there with other dignitaries too, and they are watching as things are being done. So we just pray that more students will be found. That is just our prayers that more students will be found. But so far, so good. The military, the police, they've been able to curtail everything. They've been able to put everything under control, and everything is working perfectly fine. So they are still doing their jobs, and hopefully more students will be brought out.
And how are your siblings? Hope they are responding to treatment as well.
Yes, we thank God. Just minor scratches, but they are good. They are very good.
Okay.
We thank God for everything.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelvin, for joining us live in the Situation Room all the way from Jos, the capital of Plateau State. Thank you very much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was Mr. Kelvin Emodi joining me live from Jos, the capital of Plateau State, giving us first-hand information in respect to the unfortunate incident of the collapsed building at St. Academy Secondary School, Jos, earlier today. Well, maybe fortunately for him, he said 3 of his siblings were, students of that school, and luckily for them, they were able to get them out, safely with just little, scratches, and they're also responding to treatment. I've seen pictures and videos, spoken to a lot of my contact over there. I just hope that things don't get worse than they already are, and then we also pray that for the ones that have lost their loved ones. I heard of a family of 3 kids. It's actually a family school, and funny enough, I was talking to my colleague Kunle Dana before I came on it. I said where I stayed when I was running my postgraduate in University of Jos was just a few buildings away from the school. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, when I don't have lectures or I don't have to go to work, I'm always joining them in their morning devotion on their assembly, because whenever they're drumming and they're marching, I'm always hearing it live in my own compound. And so immediately I heard this morning, spoke to my former flatmate, and it was like, oh, that in fact he actually thought it was the Jos Stadium that collapsed because of the loud sound that he heard. But we hope that things would get better. And then once again, big shout out to everyone that is reaching out and helping, saving lives, donating blood. We hope that things would come under control. Well, I was talking to you about the fact that yesterday's judgment was a landmark judgment, was an historical judgment, and it has raised a lot of reactions and responses. Former governors have spoken, lawyers have given positions. But I have one person, that have been at the forefront of championing for true democracy to reflect at the local government level. I was the representative of the civil liberty organizations at the last national conference we had under the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan. Wow. He's the executive director of civil liberties organization in Nigeria, ⴏ good evening. Thank you for joining me yet again, live in the Situation Room in the city of Lagos. And well, let me extend my heartfelt sympathy, or let me say condolence, to the unfortunate incident that also happened in Jos today. Lead us into that conversation, ⴏ
Well, first and foremost, our ecological fund is channeled properly. It will have arrested the erosion in that area that led to many loss of life. Secondly, is that if authority also approve the building and the structures were properly managed, we wouldn't have gotten to this. I'm happy we live in that area before. Erosion had really eaten deep into the foundation of that building. Unfortunately, the former work done there was not strong enough. And this is the more reason why when Nigerians are calling for accountability in governance, it's not just the monetary aspect. It's about building capacity of different supporting agents or agencies to play their role as at when due. If necessary action were taken by the agency or the owner of the school or the management of the school, we won't be having this bad story. It is regrettable that it's a popular school in that area, and many families in that area have their kids in that area. And I just listened to what you said. In a family of 4, 3 gone. It's regrettable. It's pain. And that loud sound that you hear, not just everywhere, no matter how silent it is the destruction of life, destruction of generation, and cutting short the whole dream of a whole family and the vision of the kids as they are. I think the call is to ask for thorough investigation and look at those that are culpable in this situation, make sure they are punished to serve as deterrent to other people. And I think this is also a wake-up call to people in the educational sector, not just the primary, not just the secondary, not even the tertiary, to make sure that their structure conform with the current reality, and that where there are mistakes, it should be corrected before loss of life. It is regrettable, but I can say loud and clear, it is also avoidable if the right step were taken. And we must come to the PTA also. It's not just enough to buy buses and meet and do party, graduation party. Take time to go around your school, the school of your kids, to make sure that the environment is conducive for learning. And I think this is the missing line in area of policy, in area of implementation, in area of oversight function of various PTA in different schools. All of us are victims in this instance.
Thank you very much, Comrade Steve Aluko. It's quite unfortunate, just like you said, avoidable, loss of lives like this. Perhaps the relevant authorities will see the need to do the right thing. I've actually been following the new general manager of the JMB, the Jos Metropolitan Development Board, in terms of some of the things they've been doing. The Commissioner for Works and Housing would join me on Monday on the show for a brief session. But let's get back to what happened yesterday. Comrade Steve Aluko, I've read quite a lot that you've written in respect to true governance and how the people need to be brought together, especially from the local level. And they would always tell you that, every politics is local. That means for a president, you have to come from a local government. To know how important it is for the grassroots, the national chairman of a political party could be suspended from his ward and will lose his position as the national chairman. We saw the same thing played out for now Senator Adams Oshiomhole. And in fact, the current FCC chairman, the former governor of Kano State, Alhaji Ganduje, that also reports that he's been suspended from his ward. It shows that the strength of every politician comes back to the grassroots. However, local government's effectiveness at the grassroots has been bastardized over the period of time. Local government chairmen are not exactly empowered to work and deliver dividends of democracy to the people. Councillors are merely stooges of governors or people that they were used during political campaigns and elections. They were more like compensation. But you've always been at the forefront of this agitation, and that's one of the submissions you made at the national conference yesterday. The Supreme Court gave that landmark judgment, further instructing that no local government chairman's funds should be released to the governors. It should be going straight to the local government. The issue of caretaker committee chairman, transition committee chairman is illegal. Comrade Steve Aluko, how big was that judgment for you, or especially to Nigerians?
Let me start on this. I'm happy you said the MD of GMDP will be coming on board and maybe the commissioner. And I think if you watch around, many of the states have asked this critical question. It's a decision of the governors forum. But unfortunately, a good number of them have not made adequate provision, durable solution to those you are kicking off. So it's very, very important that while you have policy in place, have credible alternative that has human face. It's very, very important. Coming to the question of the Supreme Court judgment, I say it's belated, but it's wholesomely welcome. Belated in the sense that if we have had this long before now, our democracy will have developed far beyond what we've seen of it. Belated was a welcome development. Welcome development in what sense? It makes 13 clear position that nobody can negotiate. One is that it cancels the issue of joint account, and that money should go directly to the local government. It also states clearly that no government have the power, no state governor have the power to be disposing money to anybody, but it should come straight from the federation account. And then he went on to also provide that the federation account, the state cannot retain any part of it or use any part of it on behalf of local government. And it also overruled payment through, if you look at the provision in section 162, it overruled payment through state in whatever imagination. First, it also ensures, according to section 77, the existence of local government as ensured in the constitution, not the way the governors forum were planning to rail out all the local government and just make it a two-state affair, federated affair, the state and federal. So it's a laudable judgment. And you move from that point, it also insisted only democratically elected local government councillor and chairman should hold the leadership. It also guaranteed tenure, security of tenure. That is, it's only elected chairman and councillor that should maintain the leadership and must be according to specified tenure. It also kicked against the issue of CTC, just like I said, and it went further to hold strongly that no state assembly have the right to dissolve any local government. Nor do they have the right, in connivance with the governor, to set up illegal law that will affect the functionality of the local government. And of great importance to me is that it says the enforcement takes immediate effect. Takes immediate effect. So if you put all this together, it's about deepening democracy. It's about owning the process. It's about getting the best head to man the third tier of government. And it conforms with many provisions of our constitution. Is it issue of affirmative action in terms of quota, in terms of federalism, in terms of relation of power, in terms of independence. It went further to state that all the arm of government must ensure the enforceability of this law. It's a new development, and this is why some of us have argued against people that said Nigeria have had several years of unbroken democracy. I have argued before now, and I'm still standing, where the majority of Nigerians are excluded from the electoral process of electing their own chairman and councillor. You cannot boast of any democracy. I've also argued, and I'm still arguing, that you have election in states by state independent electoral commission that are not independent is just a wishy-washy, and that thus far we have not had credible election in the state to produce credible chairman and councillor. So if you put all this together, it's a fight against corruption in another area. The judgment says clearly that the state have held some of these resources and use it as their own priority, which in most cases is selfish, self-centered, egocentric, and the rest of it. So if you look at this judgment at all fronts, it's also going to develop a practice of democracy, either within the party or at inter-party level. But most essentially, we must also ideally put this, that the law is just a legal framework. The implementation is key. The governors have been meeting at different fora, and all they want to do is to subvert it, like they subverted the National Finance Intelligence Unit policy. Nigeria must not allow this to take place. What is the implication if we don't act to stop these governors forum that are not governance forum? They will continue to steal the money, misappropriate it for their family members, girlfriend and boyfriend, and at the end of the day, the people in the rural area will suffer it. Take for instance, if the chief of army staff could accept and argue for this, that will help to fight insecurity at the rural area, while is the governors challenging it. If the NCDS, civil defense commander, a lot of people have come on board. Anybody that is arguing against the judgment is an enemy of state, is an enemy of the people. And the good thing is that every one of us is from one local government or the other. So if we're looking for development at the local government level, if we're looking for provision of basic amenities that every life needs to optimize its living, if we're looking for competitive development, if we're also looking for a collective peer review mechanism, this is the only way to go. But I wish the Supreme Court had gone a step further to also allow a national body to conduct the election. Because if you look at the history of election at the third tier, at a point it was a national electoral body that does this.
That was conducted.
Exactly. But immediately the governors subverted it. It became an extension of their whole. In most cases, it's thugs that are given those appointments. So that at the end of the day, they will give return to state assembly member and return to the governor and the first lady's office. So if you put all this together, if Nigerians are able to hold and make sure that this law sees the light of the day, the implementation, believe you me, you see, and the facts are there. That time the Buhari regime, I deliberately call it regime because if it was democratic enough, it would have challenged what the governors were doing that time. Those 3 months that EFCC, ICPC, and National Finance Intelligence Unit were up on their toes. For 3 months, none of the state government, none of the state governors tampered with that fund. But unfortunately, many of the chairmen too didn't touch it. In fact, what accrued to the local government in those were huge sums that some of the chairmen said they have never seen that quantum of money be allocated to the local government. So one, we must insist that, yes, we must also commend, I think, the Tinubu government for now. For him becoming a convert of those that were against local government autonomy, to support it and allow the Attorney General to push to this point. We must commend the President and commend the Attorney General of the Federation for having the political will with us to push for this judgment. And we must commend the Supreme Court for coming very hard on this because the language they used was very, very clear. But the onus is now on Nigeria. What we did there from the judiciary, we can get it through the amendment process by lobbying all the state assembly to make sure that 24 state assembly insists and pass this law that a better, credible, independent electoral umpire conduct the election. So that at the end of the day, everybody will have a sense of inclusion and everybody will be demanding for accountability at all levels. What can we do before then? Advocacy and sensitization of all policymakers. Campaign nationwide to make sure that there is policy engagement so that at the end of the day, we have community mobilization, organization, and a constructive engagement with whosoever will become the local government chairman or the councillor. We must not allow temptation of creating another monster at the local government level. And that's why everybody must be involved. And part of it is to make sure that credible individuals are elected as councillor and local government chairman, so that at the end of the day, we can hold them accountable if they need to flog policies to flog them. And I'm so happy that democracy respects the right to protest. Protest may not be physically going on the street. The ability to track what comes to the individual unit, we are going to have more developed rural areas, we are going to have more projects, more essence of good governance, and more scale local government. In fact, it's interesting to know that where the of local government who have a national amendment take up the challenge. I just talk about the school that collapsed, led to the loss of life and property level. These judgments in line with the concern, everybody having law and order. In the critical question we should ask, people talking contrary to Supreme Court ruling, that is not having EFCC keys to serve the people. And anything short of will get better. If we will not have more urban slums, people to also constructively engage and maximize their potential and talent. Not that governor will sit in state houses and be setting priority for local government that does not have bearing. And at the end of the day, they make much of money, corrupt practices, embezzlement, misapplication of funds. this is the time that we must ask the local government to be empowered on their own, get more training, get experts to support them, have their budgeting processes, and at the end of the day, implement the budget as their council have approved of it, so that at the end of the day, we have a third tier that is functional, a third tier that is credible, a third tier that is open, transparent, and accountable to the people, not to the governor or anybody in any state of assembly.
Comrade Steve Aluko, thank you very much for opening this conversation up for us. You made mention of a critical part of this, debate, especially those that have argued against this judgment. The former governor of Delta State, Governor Mr. James Ibori, talked about the fact that the ruling negates the spirit of true federalism. Now, let's come back to the real issue here, which is the control that state governors still have. Normally, or let me put it this way, what we have going on in this country is that governors are mostly the leaders of political parties in their states. The issue of governors appointing the SIEC, that's the State Independent Electoral Commission, these are the individuals saddled with the responsibility of conducting local government election. So a governor chooses who becomes the SIEC chairman, the secretary, and the members of SIEC, and also dictates who gets the party ticket at the local government primaries to stand as the flag bearer of the party. With this judgment, Comrade Steve Aluko, have local government truly escaped the powerful grasp of the governors, especially with the issue of governors still appointing who coordinates the elections in their states?
Number one is that if you look at the book of 2 Kings, chapter 8, verse 22, 2 Kings, chapter 8, verse 22, and 2 Chronicles, chapter 21, verses 8 and 10, he says, God placed a curse on the Edom, the children of Edom, and he said, the day your children will revolt, he will break the yoke off their shoulder. And when they got to the book of Chronicles, chapter 21, verses 8 and 10, they revolted and break the bondage of Judah over their head. And the scripture went further and said, from that day they have their own government, they choose their own king. And I think this scripture is relevant here. But let's answer Ibori for whom he is and for the record purpose. Before Nigeria came into existence in 1914, the amalgamation, were there not native authority system?
True.
Were there not configuration of different local government in different forms? Until we force it. And then before the creation of state, what was Nigeria mapping and the rest? And then you move from the native authority system, you come to the military era. How come we have local government? Even you say Delta, was it not created by IBB? So does it mean the people that were in Delta before that time do not belong to a jurisdiction? And that's why when people are telling history, you should understand history better. And in this country, just because we have allowed some loud mouth to be talking into national issue that they don't deserve. And that's why we got ourselves to this point. Many of them have used local government money to invest in their personal name. There are records. Many of them have used local government resources to build their personal houses. Not this thing. Okay, let's look at Yaya Bello most recent. Where did he get the money that is also asked to give account for? Many of them are part of local government system. Okay, the governors that are saying, if you are saying that the state governors should do whatever they are doing is legal, why didn't they allow the federal government to also remove them? I'm happy you were once in just. What is the Supreme Court judgment about executive arm truncating the life of another executive arm? When Obasanjo just sacked Dari and sack Fayose of Ekiti and go to other states, what was the position of the Supreme Court? That they don't have the power. No executive or whatever arm have the power to subjugate another executive arm. The local government exists as a authority and recognized by Nigerian Constitution to the effect that you cannot alter the name of any local government or the size of any local government without having the 2/3 vote of the state assembly. It's clear. And why do you have quota system in the name of local government? And today you are saying it's not possible. People like Ibori should just keep their silence and answer the cases they have before ICPC and before EFCC. Then coming to the issue, it's very, very important that we realize that no matter what anybody says. The local government have come to stay. And let's form a national movement that will counter them so that at the end of the day we can get a better state. And in terms of state governors becoming party chair, is part of the manipulation and the substitution of a democratic practice in Nigeria. In the Second Republic, you hear about the AKINYODE, and you hear Shagari as the president, and AKINYODE as the head of the political party. And we had it coming at different levels until it was mortgaged by people among us of power that want to remain in seat of power through illegality, through capturing of power, not through votes. We must get to the point that we separate the shaft from what? From the real issue. So that and then coming to the power of the state governor to appoint CX and the rest of it. And that is why I said that that's the only shortcoming of the ruling of the Supreme Court. And I understand what they are doing is that there have to be amendment. This is where Nigeria must focus and make amendment and lobby their state assembly to get informed input and informed decision that governors should not have the power to just pick anybody miscreant. Rather, let's act a national body that is also promoting electoral justice, not the one circumventing the electoral process to get this done. What we need to do is to get the right arm and make sure the right thing is done. And I'm also happy at the point you were in Jos. You remember comrades like Hitler. Consistently, he contested the election at opposition. But because his people were with him, at different times he won election. Yes, the governor tried to deny his swearing in, but at the end of the day, he prevailed and had the right thing. Look, rights are not given on a free gift. It is eternal vigilance. It is based on demand and supply. So, be as limited as this judgment is in that area, if Nigerians will rise up and vote for credible candidates that are credible enough, not the one that go and sell the mandate of the people, we overcome the challenge. And moreover, we have the opportunity at the constitutional amendment. Make sure we overwhelm these governors. Make sure the state assembly, at least a minimum of 24, passes the law that the governor does not have the sole right to appoint anybody, as he said. If at all they cannot get it, let condition be spelled out. So that at the end of the day, the issue of electoral justice must also come to play, where either the governor or the president will not be the sole arm that appoint people, but there will be benchmark like we have in other countries, and they'll be transparent in the process. Not when election days were announced, and then on the day of election, somebody sits in government house or a government radio station and be announcing results that were not even conducted. We must go beyond that point, and this is why we must build community accountability forum in all the local government, the CBO, the CSO, the CDS. Everybody must come together with progressive elements to make sure that they elect credible candidates. If the governor imposes his candidate in his party, let's go to the other party and make sure we win. And when we win, we must also have people that will not sell the mandate, so that we start the process, and at the end of the day, we get it right. And let me tell you, even the governor forum, they are jittery. If you read the newspaper today, they are convening an emergency meeting. And that was why immediately this case got to the Supreme Court. Many of them started announcing dates for election and the rest of it. That's to tell you that if we are sufficiently mobilized on a national issue and we engage our state assembly, we can get it right. So that the power of criminality and illegality is put on hold. And part of the leverage is this. If somebody is elected or anointed or imposed as a CX member in any state, and we have facts against that person, we can go to court. Even in court of law, there are judges that they have move away from this case because you are too close to give justice. We must begin to test the letter and the spirit and the intent of the Constitution to get it right. We may not get it 100%, but in the process, we'll get it someday. After all, this law that we'll be arguing for has been on for a very long time. But for deliberately, we didn't allow it because of corruption and thievery. And I'm happy that through advocacy, public enlightenment, and the reality of the day, even the president today that allow it to Is a fact. I'm happy you are in Lagos. Lagos condition. You hearing me now begin to repented and is converted. Leading this fight. It shouldn't be Lagos Assembly to shut it down. Consistently, Lagos Assembly have always voted against local government autonomy. So those in Lagos State Assembly now, they should write their name in gold and make sure they take a different turn. And this we must do across all the states. If we want to stop banditry, if we want to stop terrorism, if we want Nigeria to be developed like other countries, as father, if you know you want to leave a better Nigeria for next generation, this is the beginning. As a mother, if you don't want your husband to be killed and you become a widow, this is it. Everybody, and as youth, this is your own opportunity. You is closer to your people, and you can win election at that point and increase. Look at Nigerians winning the parliament election in UK. They started somewhere. So it's a challenge for all of us, the age, the young one. So at the end of the day, we serve as leadership equipment from as a councillor, credibly, local government, and as a local government chair, if you perform credibly, you can become House of Assembly or governor, and from there you move on. You must stop this process of imposing illegality on us, and we are keeping quiet because it's our future. If you don't want our local government to be vulnerable, this is the time to stand for right. If the people of this country can be converted, there's nobody that cannot be converted. And this is the more reason why we must name and shame the people that are against this, and the people that are for it, we must celebrate them. Like we are celebrating the current Attorney General of the Federation and the president for taking the lead in making sure we get to this. But we must go beyond this and get the other aspect right, so that the governor will not go and bring somebody that will circumvent the whole process. And if they do, we should take them to court.
Comrade Tᴏɪᴛᴛ, thank you very much. Before we let you go, one of the issues that a lot of people have can you hear me?
Absolutely, okay. Absolutely.
One of the issues that a lot of people have complained about has been the quality of leaders that we have at the local government level. Who becomes the local government chairman? Who becomes the councillor? Now, you talked about the fact that powers in terms of funding is now vested and rested in the hands of local government chairmen. But also, how do we strengthen the factor responsible for checking the SSs of these local government chairmen? That is the legislative arm at the local government level, the councillors. Oftentimes, you see some of these councillors being, party agents during election. Some of them are, bag carriers for some of these politicians at the top level. So they almost use councillorship to compensate them. Now that we're talking about people owning their own executive strength in the area of funding, how do we improve the quality of the people that becomes our councillors and our local government chairmen?
OPEYEMI, I'm happy your platform is one of the leading platforms in this country discussing national issue and the local government agenda, which means you stand for the poor. That's the beginning. But let me create a scenario before you. In Benue State here, at a point, the deputy vice chancellor of Benue wanted to contest for councillorship. You know what the governor did? He just rake him out and make sure they didn't face the ballot. It's not that we don't have better people that can perform more than this. It is the conscription of the democratic space by power monger that does not have anything excellent or honorable in them as we address them in public gathering. We must open the space. If they are closing it, we should open it. And how do we open it? By mobilizing sufficiently to make sure we have credible candidates for for councillorship and for chairman. So that if at the end of the day we have our way, as this law has provided, some of them have sensitized ourselves and make sure that there's a budgetary process. And that's what I said that the CSO and expert working of this law. It's to give them credit, because after all, the national assembly, it's not all of them that are.
Comrade Tᴏɪᴛᴛ, maybe you need to change your location a bit. I'm struggling to hear you.
Okay, like us.
Yes, it's better now. It's better now.
Even the State Assembly member, they always have induction course for them. Immediately they are elected. Because people once are elected and they are inducted well and they have right training and right atmosphere, they will perform. Nobody brought legislative wisdom from God. It's about capacity building. It's about training and retraining. And I can tell you the Legislative Institute to empower the councillor, empower the chairman to know the implication of this law, and that they say some of them want to end up in jail, that they can circumvent this law, build their capacity, retrain them to know the basic need of the people, and the people must also support them where they need help. People can volunteer and develop their capacity. If resources go to them direct, it's not out of place. A provision for training and retraining, empowerment and capacity building, so that people can move around, build their capacity, do everything. At the end of the day, realize that if you want to win this election, you must have the people. It's about opening the space. It's about doing a different credible issue and agenda, bring it to the public, linking them to the political game they will have when they do the people come in National Assembly. There are consultants helping them. There are people with technical expertise that is supporting them in some of their write-up, in some of their thinking and the rest of it. We must make sure that the local government function as a third tier and is pro people and not pro one governor or pro one person. The most important thing must be people center. And when they are not people center, people should mobilize against them so that they will be. But now, the task before us is what we have not gotten for Supreme Court ruling. And we sure during the amendment process, we build ourselves in different groups and write memo and engage the process so that at the end of the day, it can still go around the State House Assembly. Letting the State House Assembly realize that all of them cannot be governed. So if you sell your today, you pay for it in the future. And I think it's achievable because this democracy is street business. When I say street business, people fought, people lost their life, people were maimed, and at the end of the day, unfortunately, people that are there now are people that are just khaki in Agbada. They just change the uniform and put on khaki. But it is high time we stop them now so that we can have a nation that we can call our own. So that future generation will be part of, we play inclusive politics that will allow them to be included and begin to build a good profile for credible candidates for the future at state level and at national level. We must not allow any governor and few state assembly members to subvert this judgment. But as far as I'm concerned, this judgment has become a law in itself. It's a law in itself. It's what we didn't get in this that we will begin to. And we must seek for the enforcement with immediate effect so that all the advantage accrue to Nigeria and we don't allow any governor to circumvent the provisions of this judgment. The fight start now, the mobilization start now, the engagement start now, and we must take it to a logical conclusion.
Thank you very much, Comrade Steve Aluko. Well, Comrade Steve Aluko is the director of civil liberties organizations in Nigeria, and he joins me this afternoon live in the Situation Room on Mainland 98.3 FM to look at the judgment of the Supreme Court yesterday, affirming the autonomy of local government. Comrade Steve Aluko, you represent an organization that champions the cause of these local government autonomy. I've also seen responses from SERAP. I've seen responses from the CLOs that you represented. You also released a statement yesterday morning, immediately after the judgment was made. How much more do you think pressure groups, interest groups, religious organizations, NGOs need to help in furthering, our own fiber in terms of how our democracy should operate? The entire country seems to embrace yesterday's government judgment, even though some people still express some form of, fear and pessimism and all of that. But it was generally agreed that it was a judgment that was long overdue. How much more do you think NGOs, CSOs, CLOs, interest group, traditional institutions can constantly play a big role like this one in terms of strengthening democracy and speaking truth to power?
Number one is advocacy and sensitization that we must do with this judgment. Secondly, there must be campaign, a nationwide mobilization for people to realize that this is a national judgment that needs a national movement to engage policy makers and policy implementation. We must form ourselves into a community, a network for collaboration, for cooperation, to do what? To make sure that nobody survives this judgment, and we must be able to identify our heroes and celebrate them, and name our enemies and shame them. Media engagement is also very, very important. Traditional means or the social platform must be taken advantage of. Strategically, it's about partnership. We must build partnership for constitutional democracy. We start from the top tier of government, build capacity, training and retraining, monitoring and evaluation of performance, so that where there is ill, we are able to complain to supervisory. And I think it will be out of place to have maybe auditor general or local government affairs that we monitor every work that is going on at the local government, just like we have office of the accountant general at the federal level. There's a lot of innovation that we must bring to that, but the most important thing is that we must sufficiently mobilize the local community to engage the constitutional amendment process to make sure that the minors we are seeing from this judgment, we get it right in the amendment. And beyond that one, build a community accountability platform where the local government, the chairman and councillor will be held accountable in different ward level. They should be able to ask their councillor to give account either on quarterly basis or biannual, and then you go to the executive, you do the same thing. Democracy is about ownership, it's about cooperation, it's about engagement, but the engagement must be constructive. Not going to anybody's house how to wed or pay. It's about developmental agenda. Community must set up developmental agenda and place it before the councillor, so that in the next process, the priority of the community become the priority of the local government. And like I said, the chairman and the councillor must not be made and a monster at the local government level. And that is why the principle of checks and balancing must be applied. This one is the people on the local councillors and also the local government chairman. We must set the agenda, we must set the priority, and we must not allow them to take this money or this independence and sold it back to some of these governors that have not meant well for their state. So it's about people involvement, it's about people accountability, it's about people peer review mechanism. Local government comparing local. If this A can do this, why have you not done this? We must be able to have that peer review mechanism, so that we promote healthy competitive development across board, so that tomorrow, even in terms of investment, local government can invest in transportation sector. You know, formerly in Lagos, you see all local government coming to Lagos with their transport to run one business or the other. So we must get everything right, so that at the end of the day, Nigeria will be on the right track and will develop from that end. It's very, very important. But we must also insist on federal government also deploying what? The revolution of power to the local government, so that they can invest in critical areas that concern their people and their aspirations. And finally, they must be able to also develop more resources to the. If I have my way, we should change the fiscal revenue formula and make sure that the local government have a larger chunk, and then we will know how to go, rather than some of these stipends that come and the governor never allow it to go. And the federal government must take the lead also, not just passing this law. Any governor that circumvent it, make sure you punish them, and any local government chairman that does the same, make sure you punish them and allow the people to know, so that people will mobilize against them on that ground. It's very, very important.
Thank you.
Nobody should be a masquerade on this issue. Anybody that pretends to be a masquerade should be unmarked by Nigeria, so that the person will know that Nigeria of yesterday is gone.
Thank you very much, Comrade Steve Haluko, for joining me on the show today. Report just reaching us says that 12 dead, 77 hospitalized in the Jos School building collapse. Well, it's quite unfortunate, that this again has happened. Well, let's keep hope alive and pray that the ones that were rescued, there would be proper, health provisions to take care of them. Once again, Comrade Steve Haluko is the Executive Director of Civil Liberties Organizations, the CLOs in Nigeria, and today we've looked at the role of the CLOs in strengthening our democracy, more importantly analyzing the Supreme Court judgment yesterday on the autonomy of local government. Thank you very much, Comrade Steve Haluko. Each time we reach out to you, you always respond. Once again, we say thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate.
We'll take a very quick break by 5 o'clock. When we come back, I would read your messages and also pick your calls. I've had two guests today. First off was Mr. Kelvin Emodi. He joined me from Jos, the capital of Plateau State. He also had three of his siblings, caught up in that unfortunate building collapse earlier today. I gave us first-hand, account of how things are going on in terms of rescue, excavation, the rescue and the responses from the medical, personnel. Well, it's quite unfortunate, but hey, we just have to make sure that this country get better, and then we avoid incidents like this. Well, Comrade Steve Haluko also joined me to talk about the Supreme Court judgment yesterday and how it can be implemented and how much good it brings to us at the local government level. When I come back on the turn of 5 o'clock, I'll take your responses and also read your messages and also pick your calls. You're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. The headline news comes up very shortly. Don't go nowhere.
Headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM.
Good evening. Headline news on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Omobola Sandra. Falana says Supreme Court judgment to enhance accountability at grassroots in local government autonomy. Tinubu renames National Theatre after Wole Soyinka to commemorate Nobel laureate's 90th birthday. Tragedy in Jos as school building collapses kills many and injures scores. Court grants ex-Minister Maman 10 billion naira bail in money laundering trial. On the foreign scene, US, Canada, Finland collaborate to build icebreaker ships to counter Russia and China in polar regions. And in sports, that's the headline news on Mainland FM. Details at 5:30.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Shubana. Life is simple when you dance that 6 7 and show no closing time, no sign this and that. Oh, just run and meet that 6 7 1 show for airtime and data. You know get wala. Star 6 7 1 hash. Star 6 7 1 6 7 1. You send and receive money or deposit and withdraw cash. To pay for lights up and cable TV below. If I have to say it's simple, It better pass the cash 71.
Just dial *671# to open a Momo wallet today or download Momo app from Google or Apple Play Store. Life is simpler with Momo. Better than cash. Deposit your old Naira notes into your Momo wallet at the nearest Momo agent outlet on or before 31st January 2023.
To cook correct food, they always give me joy. That's why anytime I cook like this, I always season them with no cubes. Come add correct vegetables inside. Ugu, tatasheo, shombo, onions. No one I know they put. Now you make my pikin them, they always enjoy my cooking.
Daddy, I never will. I want more.
You see?
Sama all your food with correct vegetables. Come season them with no cubes for that to get delicious taste. Today, chop better.
Fixing your damaged phone just feels like a lot of wahala and can be very expensive, right? But not anymore. MTN is here with a solution to help you protect your phones. Accident happens. So imagine this. Your phone falls into water. No wahala. Your screen cracks. No wahala. Your phone gets burned. No wahala. Why? Because accidental damages are also covered. Even if you're lazy like me and cannot cope with the stress of getting your phone fixed, your damaged phone will be picked up, fixed and dropped off, all while you chill at home. And the best part is, you also enjoy free MTN data when you purchase any device protection plan. Seriously, who doesn't love free data? You also enjoy free MTN data when you purchase any device protection plan. To enjoy your device with peace of mind, visit mtn.ng/device services to get your pocket-friendly device protection plan. MTN, outdo yourself.
Looking for ways to save your data? It starts with your apps. Deleting unused apps helps, but there is more. Most apps have data saver modes. Activate them to control data usage. You can also go to settings to turn off auto updates. Lastly, close unused apps to save data when you ain't using your apps. These changes can make a big difference. For more information, visit your mobile operator's website or consumer.ncc.gov.ng for more helpful tips. Stay connected and enjoy smarter data usage. This message is brought to you by the Association of Telecom Operators and Nigerian Communications Commission.
Attention everyone, this is an important message about cholera.
Cholera is a serious disease, but we can stop it together.
Remember to always drink clean, safe water. Boil or treat your water before drinking.
Wash your hands with soap and clean water, especially before eating and after using the toilet.
Cook your food thoroughly and eat it while it is hot.
Keep your surroundings clean and dispose of waste properly.
If you or anyone you know shows symptoms like severe diarrhea or vomiting, seek medical help immediately.
Together, we can beat cholera and keep our community healthy.
This message is brought to you by Mainland 98.3 FM, Lagos. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Correct food, they always give me joy. That's why anytime I cook like this, I always season them with no cubes. Come add correct vegetables inside. Ugu, tatasheo, shombo, onions. No one I know they put. Now you make my pikin them, they always enjoy my cooking.
Daddy, I never will. I want more.
You see?
Sama all your food with correct vegetables. Come season them with no cubes for that to get delicious taste. Today, chop better.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood, and development. We have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us, man. There is nothing. We are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join OPEYEMI AKINYODE as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial. Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you in minutes as we discuss the situations.
Welcome back to the Situation Room. By 5:30 we'll have the full bulletin, and by 6 o'clock we'll also come back for the Friday edition of Sports Cruise on Mainland 98.3 FM. That is from 6 to 7 p.m. And by 7 p.m. there will be Voices from the Top, hosted by Kunle Daniels. And by 8 o'clock I will switch over to your Friday rendezvous, just to take you through the Friday evening, and that would begin from 8 o'clock with Ojuabe. Yes, it's going to be a rare Friday on Mainland 98.3 FM. But we're back in the Situation Room. And before we went on that break, I had Mr. Kelvin Emodi join me via phone from Jos, the capital of Plateau State, to talk to us about the unfortunate building collapse at the St. Academy Secondary School today in Jos. Reports are reaching says about 12 lives have been lost, and about 77 people hospitalized as excavation and rescue operations are still going on. In fact, before we came on air the other time, I spoke with the Commissioner for Works, and he told me that as it is now, they can't ascertain the number of casualties yet, but NEMA, that's National Emergency Management Agency, and SEMA, that's the state agency, all of the hospitals, even the military, the army, the police, everyone seems to be on ground just to help with the rescue operations to see how much lives could still be saved. Well, somebody sent an audio to me while we were taking the headline news. A friend of mine also based in Jos, and was telling me about the fact that there have been early warning signs of that collapse, that his younger brother graduated last year, and they were always making jokes in class about the fact that, make this building no go collapse. So unfortunately, the management building is not in the same compound, is within the next building. So we just have cases of student teachers, and again, they were supposed to start their exams today. So imagine students that have not been coming to school probably have to come to school. Parents will have to come and clear their tuition fees and all of that. It's quite unfortunate. We just hope that God will grant the fortitude to bear the loss, and for the ones still hospitalized, they will come good and come out safe and sound. And for the rescue operators, thank you so much for everything you've done. Thank you so much for everything you're doing, and thank you for responding first. I saw a lot of boys trying to pull people out of the collapse, trying to use their hands to pull out some of the rods and the irons part of the building before the excavators arrived. It's quite unfortunate. Really, really unfortunate. Well, Comrade Steve Aluko joined us. He's the director of the civil liberty organizations, all of the CLOs in Nigeria, and it was quite clear on the interpretation of yesterday's judgment and how important it was for the people that have been championing for democracy to be further deepened in Nigeria. While the people were celebrating yesterday's judgment on the issue of minimum wage, federal government says the matter will be resolved next week. Because the leaders of, NLC and TUC, the leadership were with the president in a closed-door meeting also yesterday on the issue of the minimum wage. So let's just be hopeful that things would get better. It's not really the best of times right now for us, but I will continue to stay positive. Comrade Steve Aluko also challenge Nigerians to see this opportunity as an opportunity rather to hold local government chairmen accountable. So every money that comes in, you know how much is coming in, or if it is one cover that is coming, you should ask your chairman, how have you been spending the funds that are coming in directly into your account? In fact, somebody started one hashtag on Twitter, on X yesterday evening, and it says, should local government chairmen be made to stay in their domain? Because there's always that constitutional right for you to stay anywhere is okay. But if you fix your local government properly, why should you find another local government more conducive for you to stay? I'm the local government chairman of Ikeja, and I'm staying in Ikoyi, I'm staying in Lekki. If Ikoyi and Lekki is not conducive or good enough, why will I go there? That means the chairman of Ikoyi or Ibeju has done his own job in fixing his local government. Should we have local government chairmen and their vice chairmen being resident in their domain? Well, that was a conversation on X yesterday, and believe me, it got a lot of responses. Funny enough, a couple of politicians also joining into the conversation, but I think that's a talk for another day. You may also want to respond to that. 0913-600-0410. Making ways. Good evening.
Oh, good evening, Okwe.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my brother, is everything. Yeah, your guests have spoken well. Okwe, starting from the building collapse church, is quite rather unfortunate.
Hello?
Say they are budgeting for education. It's always the Supreme Court judgment as touching the local government. It's a very, very good development. But also, we will also look at certain issues concerning that, because we rejoice, obviously, but the local government chairman, remember also that the way the governors have their godfathers who will share money with them, that is the way we will see, except we do something about corruption. So when we are rejoicing, there is still limit to what our rejoice should be about. Then I also say that the issue of who appoints the local government electoral officers, like it should be taken away from the governor, yes. But now, are you thinking that that will not be another way of handing over the victory to the federal government? Because the federal authority, if we say INEC should conduct the election, the federal INEC should conduct the election, the federal INEC also is unpicked by the president. So what do, because that is it must be holistic. It must be holistic.
Two wrongs can be wrong the same way two rights can be right. I think it's one step at a time. Yesterday's victory was huge. It's been long coming, over 2 decades of constant questioning, and so I think we just take it one step at a time. Well, maybe when we get to the next bridge, we'll certainly cross. Some of these issues we always think, the constitution has to be reviewed before we can make this happen. The president took the matter straight to the Supreme Court, courtesy of the Attorney General of the Federation, and the judgment was clear. And from the Supreme Court, you cannot appeal the judgment. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good to have you join us on the show today. Your name and where you calling from?
Oh, thank you very much. This is Malam Bello from Kalimantan.
You're welcome, Malam Bello.
Thank you. You see, I am one of the exalted person yesterday when I read the judgment in the afternoon yesterday around 12 o'clock. In fact, the worst enemy of this country is called Nigeria today, since 1999 to date, our government. If there is anybody to resolve, like government used to dissolve a local government chairman, it is governor that president is supposed to dissolve instead of dissolving local government chairman. Like me, I don't even know whether my state have governor or not. I don't care because they are not important to me. They are the worst enemy of this country. And by the way, by the grace of God, the autonomy of this local government has been granted to them by the Supreme Court yesterday. The local government chairman should not be tied or joking with the state governors because they don't have any business with the state governors anymore. The nobody that doesn't come from the local government. The most closest government to people and local government is not even a state. How can governors sit down in Lafayette town and know what is happening in the local government? It is not possible. That's why they make it possible for the local government fund to be their pocket money. Thank you very much, and I commended the judgment yesterday. May God bless your management. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Malambelo 09136000410. You're live from mainland 98.3 FM. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Ope.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hello, you're welcome.
John from Ogba.
Mr. John, good to have you on the show today.
Yes, I will commend your guest for the fact that he has pointed out to us that the kind of democracy we are practicing negates the true principle of democratic tenets and norms. Are you there?
I'm with you, Mr. John.
But having said that, I will put it to him that the CLO, the civil liberty organizations, the pressure, they have not been performing creditably well. Why is it that it is on local government judgment that they are coming alive to begin to? So it's commendable, really, because but the factors that will not allow the local government chairman to perform as serious, just like he has pointed out. But back to the civil liberty organization and the pressure group, they are very docile. Honestly, maybe this will be a wake-up call. But because Nigeria to have been to this, to have slide into this abysmal decade level, and we have pressure groups like the Labour, like the CLO, like all of them, like Fẹ́nifẹ́re, and whatever. We are still where Nigeria is. Are you with me?
I'm with you, Mr. John.
At least the tenacity, the vigor, the energy which they are condemning, which they are applauding this judgment. I want to see that energy to be in play against the kind of shenanigans within the government. Where the government is displaying. Both every not strikers. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. John. I understand your position. I mean, if this is so much of a big win, then everything we want to demand and ask for, should be done with this same level of determination and push. Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ Mᴜɪᴜ is talking to us on Facebook, and he says, our comrade Aluko is sound and should and can speak to us. It's also correct that Nigerians have made a serious mistake in allowing people who should not speak to speak because of their fat pocket and which they do with so much impunity. And I don't adversely mean just corruption. If there's anything like that, call it impunity. The Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy has confirmed the provision of the Constitution. It was an attack on the sensibilities of Nigerians that governors disputed local government autonomy on nothing and carried on with the capturing and squandering of local government funds while manipulating local government elections and tenure without rebuke. It is rude and criminal for the governors to have contested those constitutional provisions on the local government. I suggest that President Tinubu should also go to the Supreme Court to abolish every legal instrument, if any, that encourages security votes, constituency allowance to the governors and lawmakers respectively. This should be done with immediate effect for effectiveness and efficiency in government. Thank you very much. Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇ Mᴜɪᴜ from Obanikoro. Kabiru Adengbenro says, now that the local council will get their funds to run the affairs of their office, it is a good step. They must provide what the people want without excuses anymore. God bless my country and God bless you as well. Patrick Obiazo says, all of the media houses slogans of the people will hold the local government accountable. Who have held the president and the state governors accountable? How can a compromised and docile citizen hold leaders accountable? In this country, our contract for the construction of Lagos-Calabar Highway was awarded without due process by the federal government and mobilization made without appropriation by the National Assembly. Who held the president or minister accountable? Thank you very much, Patrick Obiazo. 09136000410. Let me also pick your calls and also read your messages. Hello, good evening. Hello, can you talk to us now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening.
I think it's better now. Your name and where you calling from?
who's calling from Aja.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is I commend the resource man, and my gratitude I felt goes to the children and the teachers and the school as a whole. But the question I want to ask is a pertinent one: is the influence of the Ministry of Local Government, under which the local government are operating presently. I don't know what is going to become of it. I mean, in the state.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure events would, further make things clear and easy in the next couple of days. Richard from Agodo is talking to us, and he says, my condolences to the government and the people of Jos Plateau State on the unfortunate building collapse that claimed many lives and left many injured. The Supreme Court's verdict is a win for all Nigerians. Anyone thinking otherwise is an enemy of the state. The people need to take ownership of their local government. Credible individuals need to get involved in running the local government affairs. Local government are the closest to the people. The era of touts leading the people is gone. Richard from Magudu, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, this one says, good evening. God bless your guest, Comrade Aluko. I'm always looking forward to him joining us on the show. Thank you very much. He spoke well, and I just need to know that this would no longer be business as usual. Local government chairman that cannot give account of stewardship would have to people to face. Now they are closer to the people. Let the local government chairman stay in their domain so that they can feel the problem and fix the problem. Thank you very much. That's Festus from Ikorodu. That was exactly what I was asking at the start of this second side of the show. Hello, good evening.
Hello, this is Olaiwola.
Mr. Olaiwola, let's make it quick.
Yeah, you see the case of when Mr. Lucas tried to explain something. When George Akume was the governor of Benue State, the deputy to the George Akume was Ogriagen at that time. After finishing 8 years as a deputy governor, he went back to the upper where he comes from, and he contested for councillor. But the governor, because of the godfatherism of the George Akume that time, he did not allow him to contest the governor to contest for the councillorship, and it make it difficult for him and withdraw for the politics before the man died. But the issue of the local government autonomy, that is what we have been anticipated for. If you go to my mother's place where I come from, under Ukuta High Board, because of the caretaker chairman they give to that guy, he want to sow the land of that village, and they think cause chaos, and they keep people almost 20 people. You can verify this. Although it goes to under Ukuta High Board, that is where the problem comes, because that guy is the top before. That is that he can go there. The case is still in the court of today, and the guy killed many people because the guy is a talk to the former deputy governor, where they call it Engineer Benson Above. If the local government makes it, they will not bring a talk to come and rule us in the local government, and they will not bring a talk to become a chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Laiwola. 09136000410. My last call for the day and for the week.
Yeah.
Hello,
good evening.
You're welcome.
This is Madam Ifi.
Madam Ifi, good to have you on the show today.
Yeah, I want to ask, what is going to be the work of the governor? If local government will be carrying inner roads, are they going to build hospital for us? Like health center, clinics? What is going to be the work of the governor?
The project the governor will execute.
That's why I'm saying that is it government inside government.
And that's where I'm. Madam, if the constitution recognizes three arms of government, that means the constitution recognizes that within a government there's a government. That's why there's federal government, there's state government, and there's local government. Even the constitution addresses each one of them as government. So that means they should be independent of the other.
So what's going to be the work of my governor Abiodun now? Because my community is
he should fix some of the roads that are dead traps scattered around the state.
Government now, this local government are they going to generate IGR for themselves, like all this settlement rate? Some money, are they going to do it, or just the federation account that will just drop inside the account? Is that what they are going to do?
Thank you, Madam Ifi. Like I said, event in the next couple of days and months or years would certainly make some of these things very clear to us. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the program for the day and for the week. Once again, our heartfelt condolence goes to the people and government of Plateau State. On the unfortunate building collapse that has led to the death of quite a lot of people actually, and many more are injured and hospitalized. And again, I saw the spirit of Nigerians working today. Everyone moving, running helter-skelter, people using their private cars as quick fix ambulances to take people to the hospitals. We thank you for everyone that responded today. Stay safe, stay out of trouble. My name is OPEYEMI AKINYODE. You're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. Thank you very much, Mr. Kelvin Emodi, for joining me all the way from Jos. And thank you very much, Comrade Steve Aluko, for also being my guest. Comrade Steve Aluko is the executive director for civil liberty organizations in Nigeria. And Mr. Kelvin Emodi, has his siblings, involved in the unfortunate building collapse today. We keep going. We get it on. By 6 o'clock, I will be back for Sports Cruise, but by 5:30, the full bulletin would come through. Stay safe and keep your dial locked on Mainland 98.3 FM. We are the sound of Lagos.